Hey everyone, this is Iradian, and this Sytrus tutorial is going to be covering the 6 operators, all of which are exactly the same. You have 6 oscillators in Sytrus. They're called operators because they operate on each other, basically. There's probably some long-winded explanation as to exactly why they're called operators, but you can call them oscillators if you want. It's not a really big deal. So, you have 6 oscillators. Each of them can go out, they can go into the filters, you can pan them left or right, and you can send them through the effects. So you have a choice. If you right click on the waveform icon at the top left, you can choose between some basic waveforms. You right click on it, menus aren't showing up right now, sorry. But you can also get those waveforms and more in between waveforms by moving these sliders. So this will control the basic shape of the waveform. Tension, it's basically kind of distortion. This is exponential distortion, where a point will be higher up in amplitude. Logarithmic distortion, it's the opposite of exponential distortion. Basically, points will be lower on average in amplitude. Skew, points move in towards the center of the cycle, like that. Sine Shaper, it basically adds more sine waves. It's a kind of distortion. It kind of produces a square-like timbre. I don't care how you say that word. Okay, pre-filter. So we'll say you have a bright waveform like a saw wave. All the harmonics, very bright, lots of high frequencies. This pre-filter will take them away. So you'll have something that is similar in harmonic profile, but it'll have less harmonics, basically. It's a low-pass filter. Then you have your noise on the end. So this will fade in noise. So this is all noise, half noise, no noise. You know, your white noise, your TV static, it's that. Center removes DC offset. So like I said in the last video, this is DC offset. And you're not going to get any sound because this is all DC offset. And this will basically move the waveform so that it's centered at the zero crossing, which is no amplitude. So right now, so you see this little artifact down here, this is DC offset. If you see this in your waves, if you see this in whatever, there's DC offset happening somewhere. This center button is going to take that away. So there's no sound now because all I had before was just a straight line up at the top. That's DC offset. This center button will take away whatever DC offset is in your waveform. D-click, it's going to add a very slight attack to the volume so that it doesn't click. It's very simple. It works most of the time. It's a useful button. I haven't used it in a while though. But it's not like it matters whether or not I use something. Band limit. So this will take away some of the very highest of the frequencies in your waveform before modulating it with whatever it's being modulated by. It's useful because modulating high frequency waveforms like a saw can produce artifacts which lead to aliasing, and aliasing is basically noise that's wrapped around a certain frequency called the Nyquist frequency, and those frequencies that wrap around the Nyquist frequency go back into the audible spectrum, and it's heard as noise. It's a kind of noise, and you can get rid of it by adding oversampling, which is in the global settings. Band limit can help to take it away sometimes. Pluck, you'll notice Pluck, you can't frequency modulate your waveform anymore. And that's, I don't know exactly why. Probably too complicated or something. I don't know. But what Pluck basically does is it turns your sound into a pluck. And it even works on noise. It turns noise into a pluck, kind of like a really bright guitar sounding thing, or a harpsichord. I don't know. It's funny because I don't have any sound, so I can't do sound examples right now, but I will get that sorted out eventually. So that's basically everything here covered. We'll do these three now. So you have your basic waveform. You can make TX waveforms with them, which is kind of waveform the Yamaha DX7 had. You could kind of modifiers, I guess you could call them. So you have half. It takes the first half of the waveform. Pretty simple. You'll see that's half of it. And now it becomes the whole cycle. The second half is no longer part of the waveform. Even, it takes the whole waveform and makes it the first half. So then the second half is silence. Pretty much how it works. And then absolute, the waveform is entirely above the zero crossing. So it's only positive amplitude. There's no negative amplitude, which would be this part of the waveform. So the sine is now only positive waveform. And you'll notice that there's some DC offset, so I can press the center button and the DC offset is gone. So that's one immediate use for the DC offset right there. The absolute waveforms, DC offset. You can combine them. That was weird. Yeah, I'm sorry, I stutter. It sucks. So you can combine these two, and you can combine these two. Even and absolute and half and even. These two don't do anything when you combine them. But that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different kinds of TX waveforms. I'm sorry if that wasn't clear. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You probably didn't need me to count, but oh well, I can't change the past, guys. So this is a part that I think gets some people. The two pitch or frequency meters. You have your frequency offset of hertz and your frequency ratio. So we'll start with ratio. The default ratio is 2. That's absolutely normal, I guess, if you want to say. And the way you change it, if you half it or double, if you half or double your ratio, you will half or double the pitch. So, for example, we'll say middle C right now, 2. If I half it, I'm playing the C an octave below it. Double it, I'm playing middle C. Double it again, I'm playing the octave above it. This hertz ratio will change, it'll shift the frequency by however many hertz. So I'm playing the high C right now, but it's 900 hertz higher. I can go negative as well. So now I'm playing the high C, but it's 800 hertz lower. So that's what the hertz does. If you Alt and left click, you can reset them because you're probably going to, at some point, start noodling with the ratio for whatever reason, and you get this weird number like 5.9980. So if you just Alt click, it goes back to 2. Same with this one. Alright, starting phase. It'll change the point at which the waveform starts. So right now, 50%. It's starting halfway through the waveform. So that's basically like turning your out knob to the left in the matrix. Global pitch, it kind of mitigates the effect of the cascading unison. I explained in the last video, if you have a unison phase at the same point and pitch is different, you'll get that cascading effect. It's usually lower. Global phase it'll make it less apparent. It'll make, I don't really like the cascading effect, so I'll put on global phase and it kind of gets rid of it. You cannot modulate these knobs in the matrix, but you can modulate this volume knob right here. again, I can't show you drop-down menus, sorry, but if you right-click on the knob, you'll get a drop-down menu, and you'll see a Create Automation clip right away. You can automate the level of the operator, basically. Pitch envelope, it concerns the range at which the pitch articulators control the operator. So right now, it's okay. So this is normal range. You'll see 1200 cents. That's the default, I believe. So you can double it, triple it. So now the range is 3 times greater than it was at the default. Same for LFO. It affects basically all of these modifiers. All of these targets change, but it's only pitch. See, that's why it's called pitch envelope. That's important. It only changes for the pitch. That's the only part it concerns. I'm not going to go over this second row for the most part. I'm saving these for its own video. Same with the ones down here. The second rows in all of these modules. I'm saving them for the articulator section, but very briefly, you can change the panning, volume, the amount of frequency or ring modulation on the operator. You can change the pitch, the phase, the pluck, or over here we have the oscillator tab. You can add in individual harmonics. I'm going to go over this a bit more in depth, but you can add the harmonics on the top half. The bottom half is the phase, the starting phase of each individual harmonic. So I'm changing the starting phase of the fundamental right now. It's and you can reset it, I believe, or can you? You can actually not, but it's pretty easy to reset them. Just do that. That was a really weird laugh. I'm sorry. Yeah, the more I talk, the less I want to talk. I think that's the operator section covered pretty much all of it, I think. I don't think I forgot anything, but that should be it. See ya.